Hi everyone. Hi everyone. Welcome once again to my YouTube channel, Dr. Quesero TV, and to my show, Ask the Cheese Doctor. This is an open window for those who want to learn how to make cheese and they don't speak Spanish and they only speak English as a second language or as a first language. My name is Dietrich Trucos and I am the cheese doctor and I am broadcasting from Auckland, New Zealand. So if you want to learn how to make cheese, you're in the right place. Today we are broadcasting in YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So if you have one of these accounts, you can go to in Instagram. You can go to at Dr. Quesero. Is the cheese doctor in Spanish, Dr. Quesero, and Facebook is Dr. Quesero as well. In Twitter at Dr. Quesero, and in YouTube is Dr. Quesero TV. Okay, today we're gonna speak about calcium chloride, how to use it, what is calcium chloride, and the idea is that you guys learn how to use it because sometimes people try to make pasta filata cheeses using calcium chloride with the express method, which is against the procedure, and therefore the curd doesn't stretch. And this is the reason for it. So I'm going to tell you how to use it, why do we use it. The idea is to have the correct use of calcium chloride. And of course, you need to know first what is calcium chloride. Okay, let's go and let's start with the presentation. Okay, I always speak about a topic and then after the presentation, and I always answer the questions from my audience. And during the week, everybody, a lot of people around the world ask me about cheese making, and I'll always answer the questions. Of course, if you want to learn, you can see these questions, see the answers, and you will learn more and more each day. The thing is that if you want to do it live, you can attend to the show and do it live. And for sure, the one that are live have priority in the show. So let's go and have a let's share the screen. Let me go first with the presentation. Let me share the screen here. Okie dokie. Here we are. There you are. I hope you have. I hope I'm having audio. Yes, I'm having audio, so everything is fine. Okay, let's get presentation. Let me have this. Okay. This platform is really slow, computer, as always. Slideshow. Okay, here we are. Let's start. Let me see. It's getting slower and slower. Okay, here we are now. Okay, this is a show number 40. Thank to you guys. I really appreciate supporting me after 40 shows. Without you, we wouldn't have any show. So, as I said, today we're going to speak about calcium chloride. So, what is calcium chloride? Everybody says, no, I need to make cheese and I use calcium chloride for making my cheeses. In general terms, calcium chloride is a salt, okay? Molecularly talking, is calcium, but I'm not going to go deep into the chemistry of the calcium chloride because you don't need to do that. You don't need to know that. The thing is that calcium chloride is a salt that we use, and the main ingredient that we use to make for cheese making is when we use calcium chloride, of course, we use basically the calcium. The calcium is the glue that bonds everything in cheese making. Okay, so if we want to make a cheese very strong, with the curd very strong, we use calcium chloride. Okay, if we're gonna make pasta filata cheeses, we cannot use calcium chloride because we need the curd to acidify. We need the curd to be acidified by the lactic bacteria, which dissolves the calcium. So if we add more calcium, the curd will not stretch. I have said in one of my programs, one of my shows, that when we acidify the milk, I'm talking about with lactic culture. When we acidify the milk, the acid that is produced by the lactic bacteria will dissolve the molecules of calcium. By dissolving the calcium, the curd should have a certain level of calcium, but not too high and not too low. If the calcium in the curd is too high, the curd will not stretch, will be rubbery. If the curd have no calcium at all or a very low level of calcium, the curd will be crumbly and not spongy. So the thing is that we have to cheeses like this are with low level of calcium are feta. Feta is a very typical cheese without calcium. Cheeses with a lot of calcium are like rubbery, as I said before, and cheeses like this one are pretty much halloumi is one of these type of cheeses. Queso fresco from South America, queso blanco from Mexico, queso panela as well from Mexico as well, campesino cheese from South America, from Colombia. Basically that, okay? Yes. So when we are making cheese, depending on the cheese that we want, we use calcium chloride or not. If we want to make, for example, a fresh cheese, any type of fresh cheese, and we are using pasteurized milk, we generally use calcium chloride to get a strong curd, but it's not a rule that we have to use it compulsorily. This is the decision of the cheesemaker. That's the reason when you see your curd and you notice that the curd is weak, you have to make the decision and make the call. I'm gonna use in my next batch calcium chloride because my milk is getting too over pasteurized and the curd is getting weak. What happens when we pasteurize the milk? When we pasteurize the milk, pasteurization denature calcium. Okay, how much? Pretty much 15% of the calcium is denatured during pasteurization. So when we are making cheese, especially fresh cheeses, if we want to put back again the calcium into the milk, we have to add this calcium. How do we add it? With calcium chloride. Okay, so we have to add it to the milk. Now, how do we add the milk? How do we add this calcium chloride? Generally, when we are adding this calcium, we use a calcium chloride solution, 30% concentration. Okay, so this is pretty much the standard solution that we use to make cheese. We can use it in powder. We can use it in mixed with water. Preparing the solution. But it's your choice how much calcium chloride are you going to put. In general terms, we put 30% solution, we put calcium chloride. How much? So, sorry, what does the calcium chloride does? What does the calcium chloride do? Well, the calcium chloride improves the rennet coagulation. First, it improves the texture of the curd. You will get stronger curds by using calcium chloride. Okay, so it also improves the coagulation of the rennet. Okay, and when we pasteurize the milk, when we shake it a lot as well, but pretty much when we pasteurize the milk, okay, we can have negative effect in coagulation, and therefore negative effects in the final cheese. So another the advantage of the of the using calcium chloride, it helps to improve texture and body into the cheese. By using calcium chloride, we get a stronger curd. Okay, and by getting a stronger curd, we won't have too much fine when we cut the curd, and therefore it will increase in your yield. What do I mean by that? If we are saying, for example, that we're getting 8 liters per kilo, by adding calcium chloride, we can increase this yield maybe 6 liters per kilo, 7 liters per kilo, which is pretty much 10%. So a little bit less. So no, 10%, I would say that. So by getting this 10% additional in your yield, it will be translated in more money to your pocket. So what do I mean by milk abuse? Is the milk that can be abused? The milk can be abused in many ways, by cold, by heat, low level of proteins. The milk is not very clean, and it has high somatic cell counts. High somatic cell counts is these are spores of yeast that are floating into them. No, this is not high somatic cell count. High somatic cell counts is a test that we do in cheese making. Okay, and it reflects the quality of the milk. So now, how much calcium chloride should we use? In general terms, well, let's go first with this screen. Calcium chloride helps the coagulation process in 2 ways. The first, when in solution, it forms calcium ions or ions, as we have mentioned before. Calcium is the glue, as I said before. Calcium is the glue that bonds everything, the ones that protein between each other. And it also can decrease the pH a little bit, and therefore it will increase the renal activity, promoting coagulation. But now, how much do we need to use of calcium chloride when we are making cheese? If we are using the 30% standard solution, we have to use half a milliliter per liter of milk, which means if I'm making, for example, 50 liters of milk, I am processing, or let's say 30 liters of milk. I'm making cheese right now. The thing is, this is in my kitchen, and I processed 30 liters with my pasteurizer that I use as a vat. So I use half a milliliter per liter, which means if I'm using 30 liters, or if I'm processing 30 liters, I will need only 15 milliliters of calcium chloride. Okay, but it also will depend on the texture you are getting. If you still notice that when you are making the cheese, your curd is still weak, you have to increase the calcium chloride, because maybe your milk, maybe your milk is over pasteurized. So by being more pasteurized, over pasteurized, your curd, your protein is too much denatured, and you have lost a lot of calcium, more than normal or more than usual. So you have to recombine and put back the calcium into the milk, and maybe you have to increase it a little bit more. What do I do? And especially when you are making cheese with homogenized milk. When you are making cheese with homogenized milk, the curd will be very weak because the milk is homogenized. And the reason for how the milk is weak, I'm not going to give it to you now. This is another topic for another program or for another show. But the thing is that if you are using homogenized milk, your curd will be weaker, and then you have to put more calcium chloride. So I'm going to give you a tip how to use the calcium chloride. At first stage, use half a milliliter per liter of milk. But if you still notice that your curd is a little bit weak, or is still weak, you can increase the amount. The thing is that if you increase more than half a milliliter per liter of milk of calcium chloride, your curd will be bitter. By being bitter, that you're gonna have off flavors. The thing is, what can you do about it? You have to mask this bitterness. Mask it with salt by using salt. For example, if you use in your cheese 1% salt, 1% salt, which means that if you are making, for example, 8 liters, you use 80 grams of salt, increase it to 2 or 3%. So this bitterness will be masked by the salty flavor, and you won't feel the bitterness into the cheese. Okay, and this is a trick that I'm giving you so you can mask this bitterness, and your curd will be stronger because you're adding more calcium into the milk, and you will have more glue. In general terms, in simple terms, you will have more glue, and by having more glue, your curd will be stronger. Especially if you are using homogenized milk. If you want to make pasta filata cheeses, and you have too much calcium, remember it won't stretch. You have to if you are using citric acid to make the pasta filata cheese, don't use calcium chloride at all, because your curd will not stretch. Okay, this is what I wanted to tell you about calcium chloride. Next show, I'm gonna speak about cheeses that have this caramel flavor. For example, like the Parmesan, Parmigiano Reggiano, it have this flavor. The Gouda cheese have this caramel flavor, and I'm gonna tell you why do we have, and what is the reason of having this caramel flavor. What is the ingredients that get you to this sweet flavor into the cheeses? Okay, if you want to learn how to make cheese, learn from the best. You can take my cheese making course for beginners. You just need to follow this link here. If you follow this link, look at it. Let me show it to you. If you follow this link, the link is gonna take you to a page that, let me see. Yeah, it will take you to a page, and you will have a look. How much does it cost? The platform will tell you everything. The in Spanish, that is captioned in 5 languages. It's captioned in English, it's captioned in Hindi, Chinese, and Arabic. So don't worry, because Spanish is my first language. Remember, I am the cheese doctor, Dr. Quesero, cheese doctor in Spanish, but doesn't matter. All my videos are captions in languages, and I speak English. I don't speak Arabic, but if you want to communicate with me through this, you can. We can use the Google Translator anyway. But if you want to learn, or talk to me in English, to speak with me. English is my second language, but I speak English perfectly. So speaking in English. So and you will, so for sure you will learn how to make cheese. I'll give you the bits and pieces. The cheese making process. It's not only following a recipe. Cheese making is not following a recipe. It's only, you need to know, you need to understand what's happening to the cheese. You heat the milk to make cheese. What bacteria do you have to put? How to use it? And how to age your cheese? When do you know when your cheese is ready? All these bits and pieces I'm going to tell you in the course. Okay, and of course, by taking the course, you will be part of the Dr. Quesero, or the Cheese Doctor community, which is a private group in Facebook, and you will interact with all your students. I just half an hour ago, a student from Peru just joined the program, and well, you will be part of this community, interact with your mates. Also, if you have a doubt, just make a question, raise the question to the audience, and we will answer for you, and we will help you out to make your cheeses. Okay, there is more than 40 videos, and as added value, I'm thinking in adding all the recipes for the Venezuelan cheeses because I have for the same price. Okay, so go over there. If you just need to follow, it will take you to the platform. If you can't pay because you don't have all the money, you can pay in months. Okay, just here you can in red. If you want to pay in monthly payment, you can go for it. You just need to make a book an appointment one of from my team, and we will arrange your monthly payment, and you will. But you're gonna start watching the video from day one, so it won't be for you. Okay. So okay, that's it. Let's go and answer some questions. Let me get out of here and answer some questions. Wait. Well, if I can. Here. How do I get rid of this? Here. All right, going here. Here I am. Okay. Now let's answer some questions. Okay. Let's see. Who's there? Okay. I remind you that I'm in Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Okay. And soon we'll be streaming in LinkedIn. Okay. I have one question. Persico is asking me, "Hi, Cheese Doctor. How are you? My mom gave me a small wine fridge. I have to cut my cheese in half to age it. Will it still work?" Well, that shouldn't be the way when you ripen your cheese, okay? Because when you cut your cheese in half, you will lose half of the moisture of the whole cake. So, in ripening your cheese, maybe it can be affected. If you vacuum pack your cheese, go for it. But if you're not gonna vacuum pack it, at least wax it, and you will not have any problem. Next time when you make your cheese, instead of making, to put a number, 2 kilos or 2 kgs cheese, make 1 kg cheese and make 2 cheeses and ripen both of them and vacuum pack it. Okay, so in this way, you shouldn't have any problem. But remember to vacuum pack it, because if the cheese is too small, it will dry up too fast, and the flavors that are into the cheese will not develop accordingly. So you gotta be careful. Okay, and it's not that you can grab a piece of cheddar in the supermarket and age it and leave it for a while. No, it doesn't work that way. The thing is that you have to ripen it or age your cheese accordingly, because you have to have certain level of moisture. So because the moisture helps to help the proteolysis, the lipolysis, and everything. Okay. Sorry, and also keep it at a good temperature. Let me see what else. Yeah. Another question. Let me see. Don Bar is asking, I culture my milk and it's separated in curd and whey. Can I make cheese with it by heating it? Well, it will depend how you culture your milk. For example, if you culture it and left it for 3 days, the milk curdles gets separated in whey and curd in 48 hours. Okay. The bad news is that maybe your curd will be bitter. Too acidic, because when you expose your milk at the elements, the heat. I'm talking about let's say 30 degrees, 25 degrees. When it's a little bit hot, your milk is exposed, and the lactobacteria will work and will start feeding from the lactose, specifically, especially if you're using raw milk. But if you're using milk from the supermarket, you still might have, well, you don't have lactic cultures over there. You need to put some lactic cultures, and you might not get the flavor. If it is pasteurized milk, like you let it ripen, just expose to the element and heating it, maybe your curd will get too acidic and it won't have a very good flavor. So you can give it a try. I don't recommend it because your cheese will not taste good. It will taste like rotten cheese because it's exposed to the element. Now, this is another story if you use rennet. If you use rennet and it got separated, now you even though if you don't have the lactic culture, doesn't matter, but your milk, your cheese will taste with the lactic flavor, not acidic or rotten. So, by the way, if your cheese tastes rotten, if you see that it tastes like rotten cheese or rotten milk, don't eat it because it might be harmful for your health. So if you're using rennet and you got this effect, you get your milk separated in whey and curd. You can heat them up because the heat will shrink the curd a little bit more, even more. And then you can make with this cheese, we can make paneer. This is pretty much the way to make paneer. The thing is that when you make paneer, you use vinegar. But if you use rennet, you can use it. You can do it as well. Okay. Of course, it takes longer because when you use rennet, when we use vinegar, this acid, this vinegar, the acid of the vinegar will curdle the milk when you heat it at about 50. Okay, but you can use both. Be careful that do not use rotten milk. Okay. Elisa, what wax do you use for making cheese? Well, Elisa Izquierdo is asking that. To make this type of cheeses, to make the wax that we use to make cheese is paraffin, just paraffin. Go to my website, drquesero.com, cheese doctor in Spanish, or you can also write cheesedoctor.com, and you will find it in my website, and I will send it to you. This wax comes in different colors: yellow, black, and red. You can use any color that you want, doesn't matter. Okay. Okay. Let me see how we are. Let's answer one more question. Ruben April. The remaining whey from yogurt, can it be used to make more yogurt? Definitely yes. Okay. When you are making yogurt and you have this whey, the thing is that if you are making yogurt from milk, this whey that you're gonna get is gonna be very small. You can use also, instead of using the whey, you can use more yogurt to make yogurt. Okay, you can use part of the yogurt, part of the remaining yogurt that you are using, use it as a mother culture to make more yogurt. You can use also the whey because in the whey you also have the probiotic, you have the bacteria. So doesn't matter if you use whey or you use yogurt per se. So anything that you want. The thing is that if you use whey, you have to use a certain amount of whey, which I reckon when you make yogurt, you don't produce this amount. You produce yogurt, which is protein, fat, lactose, and whey as well, and you can use it in your next batch. Okay, I hope I have answered your question. Well, I reckon this is all for today, guys. I'm going to let me see. Next week, I don't know what I'm gonna speak about, but anyway, it doesn't matter. And as I always say, by the way, if you want to, as I said before, you to learn to make cheese, take the course. If you don't speak Spanish, doesn't matter. With the captions, you're gonna be able to learn, and you're gonna be part of the community that will interact with me and with my mate, with my assistants, and we will help you out in your journey to me. Okay, see you next week. And I always say, eat cheese because life without cheese is like a love without a kiss. Next week and be good.
Quesitos en casa, fáciles de hacer son. El doctor Quesero te enseña con sabor. Quesitos en casa, fáciles de hacer son. El doctor Quesero te enseña con sabor. Quesos colombianos y venezolanos, todo hecho en tu casa, con sabor zuliano y calor humano. Los quesos en casa tienen vitaminas, rápidos de hacer en cualquier cocina.